I think I may have found my winning fantasy football team in 2023. I have been drafting an underdog draft since May of this year. And honestly, I drafted some real massive monsters back in May, June. That time frame, I've got some really good teams. But I don't think that absolutely helps you out, because those values I got then are not the same as I'm getting now. So we're going to go through the draft that I just did a couple of days ago, and I'm going to go through the values that I got, because I think this is going to be a winning team in one of these massive best ball tournaments right now. So we're just going to go ahead and go right through it. So the first thing to note here, best ball, as opposed to redraft leagues, best ball, you have your team and you can't go to the waiver wire. You can't make trades. That is your team. So the first thing I did was I was at pick 6 here. And actually a couple of days ago, I mentioned in a comment to somebody that the 4 through 6 range was actually my personal favorite. That's because of the values that we're getting here. And the players that are in this range, I believe, have super high ceilings and great values attached to them. So I really like this 6 spot, because right here, I got Stephon Diggs at the number 6 spot. I was very happy to get Stephon Diggs there. I've drafted a bunch of Stephon Diggs this year. I think he's on over 20% of my teams this year in fantasy football. I love getting Stephon Diggs. The offseason stuff didn't worry me at all. Stephon Diggs is a locked and loaded top 5 wide receiver. He definitely has one of the safest floors of all fantasy players this year. And of course, he's got that high ceiling attached to him. There's no way he finishes below a wide receiver 10. And there's absolutely a way that he could be a top 3 wide receiver in fantasy football. So Stephon Diggs, to me, locked and loaded wide receiver 5 this year. I love getting Stephon Diggs in the first round. And so what I like to do, as you guys know, is in these underdog drafts, you were looking at a 3 wide receiver format. So that means that you need to get your wide receivers early and often. So I went ahead and went with another wide receiver here, and the guy that I'm always targeting in this range is Chris Olave. Chris Olave, in this 4 through 6 spot, you're looking at guys where they're going to be back half second round guys. So a guy like Devontae Adams or Garrett Wilson, they're going too early in the second round for me to have a shot at taking them. The best kind of guy I could end up with there is a Chris Olave, who absolutely has a top 5 ceiling, but he absolutely, in my opinion, is not going to bust this year. There's no way he doesn't have a top 12 floor this year. With the addition of Derek Carr as his quarterback now, and with him being the clear, unquestioned, undisputed wide receiver 1, he's going to do magic this year. As good as he was last year with no quarterbacks, super happy to get Chris Olave. So I've got 2 of my 3 wide receivers locked up here who are going to be top 12 guys for sure, and absolutely have top 5 ceilings, both of them. So in round 3 here, there was a couple of different things going on. I was actually originally planning to get a running back like Josh Jacobs or like Ramondre Stevenson if they were to fall to me, because Josh Jacobs and Ramondre in the 3rd round are fantastic values. Well, it didn't end up happening. Josh Jacobs went early, and then Ramondre went a couple of picks before I made my pick. And so from there, I was looking at quarterbacks. And of course, the natural target here was Josh Allen, so I could pair him with Stephon Diggs, and that's exactly what I did. I went ahead and paired Josh Allen with Stephon Diggs because of the stack potential. And this is something that's obvious in fantasy football. If you can get yourself a top tier stack like Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, like Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, like Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes, like Justin Jefferson and Kirk Cousins, if you can get a top tier stack, that is a move that you need to make in at least 1 or 2 of your drafts this year. Because here's the reality of stacks. When you have a stack of a quarterback to wide receiver, understand that sometimes you may get some negative games. But understand this, if you can get a top tier stack like a Josh Allen and a Diggs, the potential here to hit on 70 points, 80 points, 90 points combined from both of them is going to be big. You can absolutely get 80 to 70 points combined from the both of those guys alone on at least 6 or 7 weeks out of the season. Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs are going to cook this year. And of course, it is a top tier wide receiver quarterback stack in fantasy football. And if you want to get that excellent stack today and join in on one of these super low risk, high reward drafts, use code FFN at sign up on Underdog Fantasy, and they will match your first deposit up to $100. So you put $100 in, you're getting $100 from them, so you can have $200 200 to play with. So through 3 rounds, I was really happy, right? I was really liking the value I got Allen at. I was liking the value I got Olave at. I was super happy with things. And then we get down to the 4th round here. And what I was originally planning to do was going with a running back here. I usually like to get a running back 1 in the 4th round because the guys in the 4th round, you're talking about Travis Etienne, you're talking about Najee Harris, you're talking about Joe Mixon. You got a lot of guys here who have high ceilings and high floors. And the guy I ended up getting was Najee Harris. Najee Harris was my pick here, and Najee Harris is a great value in the 4th round. You know, Najee Harris is a guy that a lot of people were out on after last year because after his rookie season, he was going as a 1st round pick last year. Well, that's not his reality. He never is going to get that amount of targets again that he got in his rookie season. So picking Najee in the 1st round was a mistake. So we're in this in-between range of trying to find where Najee Harris is properly priced. And I will tell you this, I think Najee Harris maybe a little bit too low here at 4 because this is a great value pick here. He is a bust-proof player. He absolutely makes me feel super comfortable having a top 15 running back floor with a top 10 running back ceiling. I felt very comfortable having Najee Harris as my 4th pick and my 1st running back. So then we move down to round 5, and this is where I get one of my guys. And typically, I like to leave most of my drafts with one of my guys. And I said it in a video a couple days ago, but I will tell you again. There are a couple of guys that I just are in love with this season. Jackson Smith-Njigba, Travis Etienne, Dameon Pierce, and Justin Fields. If I don't leave a draft with one of those guys, I typically come away a little underwhelmed. Well, luckily, I was able to get Jackson Smith-Njigba as my wide receiver 3. Jackson Smith-Njigba as my wide receiver 3 is so awesome to me because let me ask you a question. If Jackson Smith-Njigba got drafted right out of the gate off of his sophomore season in college, do you think he would have been a top 10 pick or a top 20 pick? Let me know in the comments below. And then a follow-up question for you. Do you think DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett were better prospects than Jackson Smith-Njigba coming out of college? It reminds me so much of the T. Higgins and Jamar Chase situation where Jamar Chase just came in and was a better player right away. That's what I think is going to happen with Jackson Smith-Njigba. It's my biggest hot take of the offseason. There's no doubt about it. So moving down to round 6, I've already got my 3 wide receivers. I've got 1 running back, and I've got a quarterback to stack with my wide receiver 1. Down at round 6, I'm looking at any kind of value that I can get at the running back position, sometimes even at the tight end position, and typically this is where I'm going running back because the running back values in the 6th to 7th range are great. And I was looking at 2 guys. I was looking at Dameon Pierce and Alexander Mattison. And what I like to do since I'm in so many drafts, I'm in about 40 underdog drafts right now. And one thing I think is very important when you're in that many drafts, you need to diversify the players you have. I have over 30% of my rosters with Dameon Pierce on there. So I didn't want to go Dameon Pierce again because I think it's important to diversify your players on your roster. So I went ahead and picked myself Alexander Mattison, who will have a breakout season this year in the 6th round value. That is great to get a running back 2 with top 10 upside and a very safe floor to have. So then down to round 7, I was super happy with the value I got here. I got Dallas Goedert in the 7th round. This is a top 5 tight end in the waiting right here in fantasy football this year. All he needs to do is stay healthy. This is going to be a great season for Dallas Goedert, and I think that getting him in the round 7 is going to be fantastic. Getting a top 5 tight end in the 7th round at a onesie position, I have all of my positions filled out by at least 1 right now. So my team is very balanced through 7 rounds right here. So then rounds 8 through 10, I actually went on a little bit of a running back rampage here. I ended up getting James Conner, Rashad Penny, and Khalil Herbert. So my thought process on getting James Conner was I was actually hoping that Javonte Williams was going to fall to me. He ended up going a couple of spots before me. And James Conner, this is the first draft I've taken him at. But when you look at the depth chart here, James Conner is going to be the guy in Arizona. There's no question. They don't have anyone behind him. And so getting James Conner at an 8th round value, I think is a good shot to take. And getting Rashad Penny at the round 9 and Khalil Herbert in round 10, look, these are both guys who have never been fantasy superstars before. I think Rashad Penny running behind the #1 offensive line in football this year on one of the best offenses in football this year, I think he is going to have a good year if he can stay healthy, which of course is the big question here. But I do think that with the offseason reports about him being lighter this year, maybe he has a chance. I'm willing to take the shot on it in round 9. And in round 10, getting Khalil Herbert here, understand he's not going to be a top 10 running back. He's not even going to be a top 15 running back. But having the ability to get Khalil Herbert at running back 40 off the board in the 10th round when he has top 20 to 25 upside, that is a great value here, and that's why I did it. So by round 11, I was looking to get another quarterback. I ended up getting Russell Wilson. I'm buying back into the Broncos a little bit here because I do think that with Sean Payton, they will be better than last year. It's almost impossible for them to be any worse than last year. So I do think that Russell Wilson as my quarterback too, I was feeling pretty good about. And then I got my tight end too, which was Cole Kmet. Recently signed the deal with the Chicago Bears. Going to be a good playmaker this year for him as he was last year. In rounds 13, 14, I ended up going wide receiver back to back. And I really liked the values here again and the upside there that is there for both of them. And I got DJ Chark and Isaiah Hodgins rounds 13 to 14. So DJ Chark, I have said it in the offseason, I think you should be drafting him. Carolina has no clear wide receiver 1. This wide receiver 1 position is up for grabs, and DJ Chark is a big play threat, which is what you want to get in a best ball style draft when you are trying to maximize the ceiling of a player on a week-to-week basis. If DJ Chark can give you 20, 25, 30-point games, you're in very good shape on underdog best ball. And Isaiah Hodgins in 14 is going to be a good value as well, because remember this, the New York Giants are the only team without a wide receiver in the top 50 wide receivers on underdog. That means that one of these guys is going to be a value here, and I think it's going to be between Isaiah Hodgins and Jalen Hyatt. Rounds 15 through 18, I went Jordan Love, Tyquan Thornton, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Trey McBride. Jordan Love, starting quarterback this year, may turn out to be nothing, but you know what? There is a chance that he could be something with the weapons that he has there in Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, and now Jaden Reed and Aaron Jones as well. I think Jordan Love has a shot, but he's no guarantee, and that's why he's a quarterback 3 on my team. And then getting Tyquan Thornton, the speedy wide receiver in the New England Patriots offense, I think is a good upside play and maybe will give some boom games in 2023. And then Clyde Edwards-Helaire, with the injury to Isaiah Pacheco, is just a shot to take in the back of your draft because there is still a chance that Clyde could be involved in this offense if Isaiah Pacheco is out. And I think one of the most important things to note about mid to late rounds in drafts is that you don't want to waste your picks. And there's a lot of people, unfortunately, that do that during this time of the year. And if you want to know how to avoid wasting those picks, click on this video right here.